Grades. What story do they tell? In this module, we provide an introduction to the concept of grades and grading as a communication tool. The module also includes a discussion of the relationship between course grades and results on state assessments. After completing this module, participants will have a better understanding of their grading practices and be able to explain the role of the various components that the grade comprises. Be better able to consider and explain student grades in terms of student performance, and have a better understanding of the expected relationships between student grades and performance on state assessments. Part 1. The beginning. Stories have a beginning, middle, and end. In our story of grades, we begin with the primary purpose for grading should be to communicate with students and parents about their achievement of learning goals. As we consider the scenarios, we ask ourselves, what is the story? What story is being told by a particular grade? Is it the same story to each of the audiences? And most important, is it the story that you intended to tell? Does the story change based on the grade itself, the A, the B, or the C? Does the story change based on when that grade is given, whether it's early in the year, the middle of the year, or as a final grade? Does the story change based on other information? Previous grades the student might have received, grades of other students in the class. We often hear that grades do not tell the whole story. That's true, but grades do tell a story. Grades convey information about a student's performance to a wide variety of audiences. That includes teachers in subsequent years, school administrators, parents, of course, and the student's current teacher, as well as the student, are also primary audiences for the information conveyed by student grades. And combined across students, grades can also convey information about the performance of a class, subgroup of students, a school, or a teacher. Although many might agree with our opening quote that the primary purpose of grading should be to communicate with students and parents about their achievement of learning goals, that is not the only purpose of grades and grading. It is highly unlikely that a single method of reporting, a single message about the meaning of grades, perhaps even a single system of grading could satisfy all of the 6 purposes identified above as common purposes for grades and grading. Establishing conditions that promote and support both appropriate expectations for and appropriate interpretations of grades is a critical piece of the instructional process. Who is the storyteller? We identify the student and her or his current teacher as part of the audience for the story. If that's true, then who is the storyteller? In reality, students and teachers are both responsible for creating, telling, and interpreting the story. Sometimes, as teachers and students, we like to detach ourselves from a grade as if we had no part in it or no control over it. Grades happen. Teachers fall back on policies, digital gradebooks, and external tests as the creators of grades. Students regard grades as a black box or a random roll of the dice. Both students and teachers have to understand and acknowledge their role in creating and using grades. Whether student grades are based primarily on academic achievement or are influenced by a variety of additional factors, proper documentation is critical to enhancing the likelihood that those grades will be meaningful, defensible, reliable, and hopefully even useful. Grading plans and policies are the first step in good documentation. These plans, when well constructed, provide detailed information on what evidence you intend to collect and how and when it will be collected, and how the evidence will be evaluated and combined to produce a grade. Artifacts and actual student work provide documentation of how the grading plan was implemented, and also provide evidence of how the student's grade is directly related to mastery of the standards. Activity 1. Your story. Identify and discuss the information that you currently convey about grades and gradings in your district, school, and within your class to your students and their parents. What information is provided at the district school and teacher classroom level? Is that information easily accessible? Is the information accurate and consistent across sources and levels? Who is the intended audience for each source of information? And is that information tailored to the needs of that particular audience?